Rock My Monkey TV. So I'm here with Paul from Blackguard. 2 years ago, I met these guys. They were in here with Ensfrium, and they just blew my mind. And it's been 2 years since I've gotten to see my buddy Paul and them from Canada, you know. And I'll tell you what, 400 shows later, these guys, if you haven't seen them, you better get out and see them, because you're going to find out in this interview there's some stuff going down with Blackguard, and we're about to show you what Canada can do. So, anyways, it has been 2 years, my brother. And
I remember that little impromptu interview at Studio 7, man. That was fun, man. I really had a good time. And that was an amazing show, too. Like, that whole Ensfrium tour was so much fun with Lazarus and Swashbuckle, and like I still remember goofing around on stage with the Swashbuckle guys during our set and whatnot. So, you know what? It's been great coming back here. Man, I don't know, 7 or 8 or 9 times since then. And like, Seattle's always been one of those cities that's always treated us so well and has just always supported the band. So, you know, it's always a pleasure coming back, even though it's raining 90% of the time. Fucking rules.
Yeah, I've noticed you guys start, I was talking with your bassist, and I noticed that you guys usually are here right about fall, winter.
Yeah, give or take.
You know, you guys are real close or right after winter, and so we're still in that little cloud of the 2 mountain ranges here in Seattle, and it just pours down. Yeah. But that's kind of a good thing, because you guys draw a lot of us into the, you know, clubs. And when you got a live show, I mean, you guys have stepped it up way in the last 2 years.
Well, thank you.
Your energy level is astronomical, man. And I know that you guys, talking to Terry, your guitarist, he was saying that you guys got some plans coming up. So how about you, I'm going to hand you the mic and let you explain to the fans what you got coming up and that they need to come out and see you guys.
All right. Yeah, well, right now we're on this fantastic tour with Evergrey, Sabaton, The Absence, and Power Glove, and it's been going great. We hopped on about a week late into this tour because we were out with Camelot for a North American run, which we were here. We were right here at El Corazon for that, like maybe 3 weeks ago. So we finished up Camelot. We're going to do this tour for the next 2 weeks, and after that, we're taking a nice little hiatus off the road, which a lot of people are going to be happy about, because we've been, I think we've done like 5 North American tours this year or something like that. Well, just since February, and if we're going back since last October, we're going close to like 9. So we've been around, you know, we've been hitting up Seattle and North America quite a bit. So after this tour, we're going to take a little hiatus. We may or may not tour in the spring, so we'll have at least 6 months off the road, and possibly, you know, upwards of, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, depending on things go. So we're going to start putting riffs together and putting songs together for the next release, which hopefully we'll see an early 2013, I think, release for that. But you know what? Everything's in the planning stages right now. We're not trying to get too far ahead of ourselves. We're just going to focus on writing really, really good songs and you know, top what we did before.
So now, you guys are one of the few metal bands that has a female musician, not a singer, like most, you know, 80s metal. It was all about the, yeah, it was always, the female was always off to the side, or she was the singer. She was never a true, you know, put out in that position, other than like Vixen, or you got Pat Benatar, that was a vocalist. But then you got guys, well, let's see, you got Vixen, that had an all-female group. But you don't really see, outside of Vixen, Kitty, a whole lot of females that are hardcore into the metal scene. Yeah. So what is it like to tour with such a drummer as what you have? Because the girl puts most drummers away that I know, and I'd like to see her challenge Gene Hoglan myself, because I think she could take him.
Yeah, actually,
and Gene's probably going to get on me about that, you know, but I'll deal with that later, you know, but Gene's one of my all-time favorite drummers, and she is just, she's ungodly, man. How in the heck did you guys find her?
Well, she actually was one of the, she actually co-founded the band with Terry, our guitar player, so she's been around since day one, and, you know, since then she's been, you know, like, that was like 10 years ago, so she's been honing her skills ever since, and every year she gets better and better and better, and she works incredibly hard when we're at home to increase her skill and just, you know, to be the best drummer that she can, you know, and she's reached a level that, you know, it's true, you don't see a lot of other female musicians getting that good, and especially in the, well, basically in the metal realm, you know, like there's tons of awesome female drummers and like you know, more popular music and session drummers that absolutely rock it. And but yeah, you know, it's true in metal you don't see too much of, like, you know, especially in the extreme end of metal, you don't see too many female, you know, death metal, or like female death metal drummers, or black metal or power metal, and you know, those are kind of the styles that we mix, and she, you know, as you know, works very hard at mastering her craft. So, you know, it's great having her on board. You know, we try not to see her as like, you know, the chick in the band or anything like that. But
well, she definitely doesn't carry herself that. She carries herself as a band and a true musician.
Yeah, no, and that is what she is, exactly. She's a true musician, and she's a, you know, she works incredibly hard. She's a perfectionist to herself. Like, she always striving to better her abilities and her talents and her drumming. So, you know what? Just expect better things in the future from her.
Absolutely. So now, saying what we did, the reason I also wanted to bring her up is Revolver did a deal recently on the metal women.
Oh yeah, their annual hottest chicks.
Yeah,
in hard rock
and stuff. Yeah. And the website Gauntlet just reamed about how women and metal and all this. And I'm like, my 16-year-old daughter Idalis, and a lot of the kids that I know, they really care about music the way that we all grew up, you know, loving music. And my stand is, it shouldn't matter if it's female or a male that's doing it. My stand is, if they're a musician and they're putting out ungodly music, people need to be buying it up. Where's your stand on that?
Yeah, it's like, well, you know what? That's exactly it. If it's good, it's good. You know, who's putting it out? You know, what gender, what color, their skin, what creed, doesn't matter. It's, you know, all at the end of the day, you know, the bottom line is the music that's being put out good, or is it, you know, subpar, or is it bad? You know, like, so, you know, like, I mean, whatever. Like, what Revolver's doing with their whole hottest chicks in metal and hard rock thing. I mean, they've been doing it for a couple years now, and like, I guess I like that they are giving more attention to female musicians.
Just not in the right way.
You know what? I don't want to be the one to judge that. I'm just,
because I kind of feel it's more
personally,
sexist.
It definitely comes off that way sometimes. Like, you know what? The title is what throws it off. You know what? I don't even know, but I don't even know, you know, instead of calling it the hardest, you know, or the hottest chicks in hard rock, you know, call it, I don't know, you know, anything else.
Female musicians,
yeah, man,
hardest
like,
working musicians.
Yeah, like, you know, girls that rock, you know, metal and hard rock and hardcore in the last year. I don't know. I mean, obviously that doesn't have as good of a ring to it, and sex does sell. Sex, you know that.
Well, yeah, they say
that's what's
sex sells everything, you know, in America.
Yeah,
so.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the top selling issue every year that they put out. You know, is their hottest chicks of hard rock. So, you know what? Listen, from a business standpoint, I understand it, but at the same time, yeah, you know, every time it comes out,
musician part,
yeah, you know, that's it. You know, like, you know, because just, you know, what it kind of, like that what just what the title sort of brings to mind is, like, you know, more looks. You know, it's more about looks than it's about playing, or it's about the band. So, you know, whatever, it is what it is, and I'm not about to, you know, I don't want to judge them, because they're a business, they're doing their thing, and, you know, if Juice ever wound up, you know, on that issue, like, I certainly wouldn't shit on it. You know, I'd be like, well, it's good exposure for the bands, you know, and they do cover a lot of underground bands and bands that aren't exactly getting, you know, maybe the exposure that they should be getting. So I'm happy that they do have an issue out like that, and they are exposing more underground bands with females in it to the masses. So, yeah. You know what, I do overall think it's a good thing, you know.
All right. Now, you guys got 2 more tours that you're going to do, North American, for 2012, and then possibly is what it's sitting right now at the most, and then you're taking 6 to 8 months off. It's going to start working on some new stuff and get ready to, you know, hit the road and get you guys your break for a while first, you know.
Yeah,
and,
man.
You know, now, you and I were talking earlier. We got a good mutual friend, an Australian that's from Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah.
Ari from Dystrophy. Now, these guys work out. Now, all you metal bands out there need to catch a clue from these youngsters that are coming out, because I'll tell you what, Ari from Dystrophy, I don't think there's a more influential singer and guitarist when it comes to physical health in the whole music scene that I've been in all my life.
I will second that.
You know, because, I mean, he gets these guys to work out before their show to really just pump them up and get their adrenaline. And I noticed that you were doing that, and so is some of the other guys.
Yeah.
How does that help you on stage now?
I mean, it's just paramount to what I do on stage. It's like, I mean, I've been very physically active, and I've been very fitness conscious over the last, I don't know, 6-7 years or something like that. Probably since I started, you know, I started going to the gym, you know, way before we got the band got signed. But the reason why I did it was so that I could perform better on stage, you know. And
Your
I've been
endurance?
it's all about my cardio, my endurance, all of that, my conditioning, you know. So that's
Yeah, I know
why
that shows, because I'll tell you what, like I said, in 2 years, I remember watching you the first time I ever met you, Paul, and I'd see you kind of catching your breath, you know.
Yeah.
To where tonight I didn't see that at all, man. And I honestly, being an ex-vocalist myself, I look for that.
Yeah.
To see just how good shape they are.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, even when I was in my 20s, I don't think I could do what you do.
Oh, well,
So
thanks,
I think you're a phenomenal frontman, man.
I put a lot of time, you know, in the gym and like and
something smells really good. I think BC just came to visit us, folks.
Maybe it's a pot fire in BC. It's blowing over this way. But but you know, I spend a lot of time at home and especially on the road, you know, working on my conditioning and working on you know, my physical fitness, just to make sure that I'm always top notch. I'm going to be able to go out there, run around, and, you know, not lose my breath, and be able to keep it up for 30, 40, 50 minutes at a time, however long we're playing, and make sure that I can give the best show possible. And, you know, and all this came from, you know, watching frontmen like Bruce Dickinson and Brandon Scheppetti from Bleeding Through, guys that could rock a stage, you know,
That's
and just
pretty diverse and influence.
Yeah,
man.
but you know what? Those are the two singers, in my opinion, that are the best. You know, in terms of, you know, there's a lot of other great frontmen out there, but if you're talking about, you know, guys that can run around and have the best endurance and the best conditioning, and, you know, just, you know, use everything, and guys who are just able to give, you can tell that they're giving 100% every night. For my money, and the two frontmen that influenced me the most were Bruce and it was Brandon, and both those guys are very fitness conscious, you know.
That's pretty interesting, because see, for me, like I said, I'm quite a few years older than you, so, but for me, it was my influences when I came out singing was like Rob Halford, Bruce Dickinson.
But you know what? Like, you look at Bruce and you look at Rob. Rob was never doing laps on a stage the way Bruce was, you know. And I've always been more drawn to that style of being a frontman, is the very high energy. I want to run around. I want to jump.
A lot of Henry Rollins for me too,
dude. Yeah, I'm huge Rollins fan. So, and there we go. Another very fitness conscious frontman.
And another singer. You know, we brought it up earlier. Mark just did an interview with World Dane from Nevermore Sanctuary and stuff, and he's another one of those frontmen that's very influential for me when I was 16 and working when he was with Sanctuary, and before that, Serpent's Night. You know, I remember watching all these guys come out of Seattle, and, you know, there's the Canada bands are really starting to show that they're just as powerful as anybody else on this earth when it comes to music. Yeah. You know?
It's a little more few and far between, but we definitely have a lot of great bands that, especially over the last, I think, 7 or 8 years, that we
minus Justin Bieber, folks. Yeah, believe me, Canada doesn't count him for any kind of music. So check it out.
Yeah, well, you know, and I'm especially proud of the Montreal scene where we're from. Like, we came out, you know, we're a Montreal band, and we've had amazing bands come out over the last 15, 20, you know, 5, you know, like over the last over the last 20 years. You know, Cryptopsy, Cataclysm, Voivod, Despised Icon, Iron Dissonance, The Agonists, Beneath the Masker. You know, so for metal, you know, we have tons of bands that have been coming out and rocking it. Neuraxis, and the underground is full of fantastic bands that, you know, even though they're not getting the kind of international recognition that some of the other ones are, like, they're just as you know, just as professional and just as amazing as, you know, anything that's coming out on the international scene. So.
Right on. Well, we're going to close this up and let him get back in there and enjoy Everglade, because Everglade is about to probably hit the stage about 11:15. So check it out, fans. If you're a Blackguard fan or you haven't heard these guys, you need to go rock your monkey at rockmymonkey.com/TV and watch the interviews. And, man, you really need to follow these guys, because I'm telling you, you have never seen a show like what they put on. So once again, rock my monkey.